Hello and good evening, everybody. My name is Nirvana Tari. I'm the host of the Care Plan, and I'm here today with the one and only Dr. Peter Abadir. Hi, Dr. Abadir. How are you doing today?
Hi, Nirvana, and good evening, everybody. Really
Thanks.
happy to be with you.
Thanks so much for being here. I'm so excited to record this episode, and I've been looking forward to it all month. And I just know that our audience is going to have so many amazing takeaways. So, just a little bit of an intro before we get into it. Dr. Abadir is an associate professor of medicine and geriatrics and electrical and computer engineering at Johns Hopkins University, where he also serves as co-principal investigator of the Johns Hopkins Artificial Intelligence and Technology Collaboratory for Aging Research and runs the Gerotech Incubator, where students build real world solutions for older adults. He is also the deputy editor for the Journal of American Geriatric Society. That is a mouthful for sure. I love it. Um, so, as our audience already knows, we're going to go ahead and just kick things off with our lightning round. So, I'm going to ask this one because it's the holiday season and I feel like people are always like scrambling for last minute gifts. But what do you think is the best gift to give a family caregiver?
I think, Nirvana, the best gift to give to a family caregiver is a reliable block of time, just relief.
I love
Give them time that is their own, arrange for meal delivery, house cleaning,
mm,
and respite care, basically. Just that would be the best gift.
I love it. I hope everyone's taking notes because that was a really good answer. And what better gift is there to give anyone than the gift of time? Because it's the most fleeting thing. Um, so next one is, what's a biomarker everyone over 40 should start tracking?
This, I mean, I know I need to stick to 30 seconds, but I do think that there is a lot in the market that promises apps and wearables that promises measurements of different things. But if there is such a thing that allows you to measure blood pressure, I
Mm,
think home blood pressure is going to be one of the most important
mm,
biomarkers that everybody should be measuring. It's the silent killer,
mhm.
Nirvana. It's silent, truly silent. You don't feel anything, and all of a sudden, you end up with a stroke or with heart attack.
Yep.
So, home blood pressure measurements is one of the most recommended by the American Heart Association, by different task forces, and uh, that would be the one of the. If you don't do anything else, that would be the biomarker to
We
follow.
should do. I love that because it's super accessible as well. You can just log on to Amazon and order one for like probably less than $20, and also another good gift idea potentially for someone in your life as well. I have personal experience with this. My dad actually had a heart attack. Thankfully, he survived, but he had a heart attack about, wow, it's almost been 2 years now, and blood pressure was the explanation for it. So it's definitely something that really creeps up on you and is something that we should all be watching out for. So thank you for shouting that out.
Thank you.
If you could give your 30-year-old self one piece of health advice, what would it be?
Um, Sleep, protecting sleep, and
Mm-hmm.
making sure you get your own sleep, and not push yourself to the extremes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Basically, that with time everything will be done. So protect sleep like it's a training time. This is my time of sleep, and of course, exercising.
I really needed to hear that because if I tell you how much sleep I've gotten this week, I think you would just stop recording this podcast with me altogether.
Yeah.
So thank you. Now, this one's a good one too. What's a myth about aging that you'd like to bust?
So I think that the word that I hate hearing, it's aging,
Okay.
and equating that with it is normal to have cognitive deficits. It's normal to fall. It's normal to have confusion when you go to the hospital.
Mhm.
This is a myth. Aging is not aging as an opportunity. Aging is growing. Aging is maintaining independence. So I think that myth, that saying it is aging and that expecting that just explains everything is a myth that I like for us to start ignoring.
Well, there you go. I love it. That's really because I mean, I guess technically aren't we all aging every single day? Like I'm aging, you're aging, a 2-year-old is aging. Like, why is there such a negative connotation to that word? You and I were gonna figure out ageism in our lifetimes.
Totally.
I'd love to get on a project with you on that. This next one is, what's the best piece of advice you've given to a patient's family?
So again, I will stay with the 30 seconds, but I want to explain the 4 pillars of geriatrics, the 4 M's of geriatrics. So in geriatrics,
Mm-hmm.
you try geriatrics is the specialty of taking care of older adults.
Mm-hmm.
It's built on the 4 pillars, which are the 4 M's.
Mm-hmm.
M for mobility, M for mentation,
Mm-hmm.
M for medications, and then the last M is the one that I want to leave with everybody, is what matters most. So start with what matters most, because what matters most to one older person is not exactly the same like the next older person. So talking with your loved one and figuring out what matters most to them, I think, is really important. Clarifying goals, clarifying, what would they want to be done, and before arguing about shall we do this test or shall we take this medicine or not. Um,
I love it. That's really, really great. And I really also love that you mentioned that, there isn't a solution that's a one size fits all. Every single patient is going to have their own unique needs. And that just like goes to show how that this is why you've gotten as far as you have in your life, because if that's like, I feel like that's something like realized like for all healthcare providers and like anyone who's looking to go into the healthcare space as well, is if you try to find a solution that's going to fit every single person, then you're going to be searching for your whole life probably. And then I'll give you one last one and then we'll wrap up our lightning round. So this one is, what technology do you think will change elder care in the next 5 years? It could be like a magic wand thing where it doesn't necessarily exist yet, or it's something that's in the works right now that's developing that you think will be like ready to go.
I think technologies that will change elder care are technologies that will remove the burden of work from families. So technologies that can increase the independence of older adults, even as simple as technologies that can open the jar for an older person. So it doesn't have to be the most complicated nirvana. It's just how can that older person stay at home longer, safer, independently, and whether this technology is based on Wi-Fi technologies that will allow early detection of adverse events like falls and stopping breathing and heart stopping and all of that, or robotics that will offer support to the older person in terms of bringing stuff to them, including technologies that are conversational. I think we have to acknowledge that at this point we don't have enough people to support our older population. So relying on technologies might not be such a bad option, including, for example, the generative AI technologies that allow conversations, allow discussions. And I want to share one of our technologies that I thought was really interesting. It was based on a study that was not done in our center, but in Texas, looking at Alexa kind of technologies that were placed in older homebound older adults' homes. And the finding of this study was that older adults that had that technology in their homes were noted to have less frailty symptoms. The interpretation of the study was that they were so excited to talk to this generative AI tool that they would walk from their room to the kitchen. And that was all what they needed, just the early 2, 3 minutes of walking you don't have to run a marathon. I
That's
think
cool.
this is an example of using technology that you can argue that, well, this is not real conversation. It is what it is, but it actually did help improve outcomes for older adults. So
That's really, really cool. You'll have to send me the name of that article so I can share it with our audience as well. I'll put it, I'll attach it to the LinkedIn post because I think that's really, really awesome. While you were talking about that, I was thinking about how a lot of the times the worry is that technology is replacing humans. But the way that I think about it is, of course, we should be supporting technology that enhances human connection, absolutely. But also, if the alternative is nothing or technology, like no human connection or technological connection, then of course the technological connection makes a lot more sense, not necessarily to replace, but to supplement and make sure that people are getting that engagement, that movement, that socialization, the things that matter so much, especially with age.
yeah.
But you're leading the Johns Hopkins AI and Technology Collaboratory for Aging Research, which I'm going to give a little shout out. Cariaya's AI-powered caregiver training app, Yaya Guide, was graciously actually selected for, I think, a little over 2 years ago now. So for our audience who's juggling work and maybe caring for aging parents, what does this actually mean for their lives? And what is maybe just like share a little bit more about the program as a whole.
Okay, so I will share a little bit about the program first, just to bring everybody on the same uh,
Yeah.
page. The Johns Hopkins Artificial Intelligence and Technology Collaboratory for Aging Research is one of three national centers that were funded by National Institute on Aging to support the development of technologies.
Mm.
Hopkins is one, UPenn is the second center, and a consortium between UMass and Harvard is the third uh, center. And each center has their own flavors, but in general, they are meant they are meant to support development of technologies that improve independence and allow older adults and their caregivers to stay home longer.
Mm.
Um, Over the past 5 years, combined three programs, we have received over 900 applications. And Nirvana, that's a big number, especially when you think about those are companies, those are academia, those are centers all around the US that are uh, wanting to serve older adults, want to develop technologies for older adults. So this is a big number. We funded
Mm.
129 applications, which center was funded with $20 million, so combined total of $60 million to develop technologies for older uh, adults. I want to share a couple of statistics because numbers, speak volumes.
Please.
For the past 5 years, we have funded technologies in over 45 states. Um, and this is really important. A little bit less than half were startup companies in those states.
Look at that.
Uh, and a bit over 45% were led by women engineers, which is an amazing number because, I mean, electrical and computer engineering is mostly male predominant field.
Yeah,
I
totally.
actually know that there is this next generation of women engineers that not only developing technologies but also leading startup companies and leading the field of
Yeah.
developing technologies for older adults is something that we're all celebrating. So wanted just to give this overview of the AITC or the Hopkins AITC, which is basically, we were very excited to support the work of Keriaya and the project because it's it's basically you equate funding Keriaya with a technology that will lead to fewer crises, right?
Absolutely.
Clearer guidance, less of a guesswork, and more of guidance into what needs to be done in real life, not something just for a demo purposes, but
Mm.
life kind of impact. So that's why um, we were excited and proud to support your important work.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I gotta say, the woman in STEM supporters in me is very, very happy right now to hear those statistics that you just mentioned, because that truly, really is awesome. Because both from a leadership standpoint and from just general, the fields that you mentioned, that's really, really great. It kind of goes to show that, age tech really is the next big thing, huh?
Yeah, with guardrails, with limitations, with
Absolutely.
concerns, with a lot of with uh, a lot of warnings that uh,
Mm-hmm.
we're entering a new uh, territory,
Absolutely.
and that we all have to be mindful that the promise comes with concerns, comes with risk, comes with uh, one of the listeners posted about phishing scams, and definitely AI is one of those tools that
Mhm.
expose older adults to even more vulnerability. So currently, and I think another listener raised the question is, when will FDA require certification of biomarkers? I do think that this is a very important, Stephen. Thank you for this question, because I don't know the answer, but I will tell you that I'm with you that there should be some regulation and guidelines for the claims that are currently being made of just this thing can measure that, this thing can
Right.
do that. So I do think that this is going to be important, and
Mhm.
it's on us not only to require certification, but because of the nature of those new tools like generative AI, like the large language models, not
Mhm.
only certification, but regular validation, regular evaluation, coming up with very specific, uh, approval process, evaluation process is going to be extremely important.
Yeah. It's something that's not talked about nearly enough. You're right. I hadn't even like thought of that until you just kind of brought it up, but that's so important. I feel like government needs to play a bit of catch up to kind of get to how fast the technology is advancing, because
Correct.
these guardrails really, really do need to be in place in order for everyone to, have the most benefits from the technology that's being created as well. But
Also, Nirvana, when you think about it, the pace of how things are moving is extremely fast. I mean, ChatGPT a year and a half ago was what? What is ChatGPT?
right.
We are in version 5 of ChatGPT, right? So it just tells you that this is something that we have. Yes, it is the new reality.
Yeah.
There's no way back. This is happening. It's being used in ambient technologies, in hospitals,
Mhm.
in providing support for education, etc. But
Mhm.
guardrails is going to be still very important, and validation of the sensitivity, specificity, reliability of the models are all biomarkers of success and validation for the models.
You
Uh,
should consider writing a book about this, because yeah, that's it's so interesting to just like even like ponder these things and like think about just how much information is being collected, how much data is like being stored. I mean, I feel like ChatGPT is becoming the new Google. I feel like people are going and asking more questions to chat than they are like just like doing like a regular Google search. And even if you do a regular Google search, your first answer is an AI response, and people are just generally reading the AI response and moving along with their day. So the internet is changing as we kind of know it in front of our eyes.
and let me give you a different example of concerns here, and Steven, this and Jake, this will support your questions that this should be a lot more regulated than it's currently.
Mm,
So one of the technologies that is becoming very uh, promising for
mhm.
caring for older adults are is based on voice cloning.
Oh,
Voice cloning of caregivers is a promising technology because there is
Mm.
there is a body of literature that suggests that older adults with cognitive impairment are more likely to respond to familiar voices. And if you combine that ability to clone the voice of a caregiver, and by cloning that is much more than just the pitch of the sound or the tone, or it's
Mm.
much more, it's how, because I mean, this is AI. It's actually cloning the way you say things, the accent, everything in it,
Intonations.
right? Which is very promising because you want that. You want ability to relieve the caregiver by something that will have a conversation and will be a reminder that using the caregiver's voice. But at the same time, this carries a huge ethical risk because now you have a clone of a voice of a caregiver, and just bringing to everybody's attention the recent incidents with generative AI pushing uh, a person to commit suicide and all of that. So I think this is an area that will require a lot of thoughts and a lot of
Regulation.
yeah, and guardrails.
Because everything can be used for bad too. Like, I mean, I'm thinking of 10 different ways that that could be used in a negative way, and like 10 different ways that it could be used in a positive way. And, we need to pick up the speed and figure that out as soon as possible, because it's not just older adults' lives, but like everybody's lives are kind of being tampered with something
Yeah.
with something like this. So, as we heard from the intro, you are doing a million and one things between running a research lab, editing JAGs, working with the AITC, being a practicing geriatrician, and so much more. I have to ask, how do you do it all? And being on this podcast.
So, Nirvana, correction, I don't do it all. Teams do.
Mm,
That's really what is exciting and fun about what I do is that I'm blessed to work with teams that have been instrumental in making sure that we get to our goal and complete our mission. The AITC is a team of people that work together, and Wicker and all the PIs that I work with from the engineering, clinical medicine, and from geriatrics, basically, and School of Business. So I do think it's about making sure that you have the right teams and picking your team members and working with them and identifying their strength and building on their strength.
that's so beautiful. I think that's, yeah, I mean, power in numbers. And at the end of the day, humans are creatures that are meant to collaborate with other humans. And I think it's so important to kind of remind people that it's the people along the way that kind of like make your experience what it truly is. So,
Yeah,
I'm sure that your colleagues absolutely adore working with you. I can
thank
just
you.
tell from this one conversation. But, the Gerotech Incubator, I just love this program. It's you help lead it, and it sends engineering students right into hospitals to shadow patients and clinicians, find real problems in aging, and then build the technology solutions from medical and business students. What are the coolest solutions that would you say they've come up with?
Um, so coolest is I think the coolest solution is the most practically boring solution, meaning that that solution that is just it's practical, very practical,
Gets
and
it
uh,
done.
and user friendly and useful for older adults. I will share with you a little bit about this Geratech Incubators program. Geratech Incubators program was born out of the Center for Innovative Medicine as an alliance between the School of Medicine at Hopkins and the School of Engineering. And at that time, there was a violent agreement that good things happen to older adults when we work together. So we decided that we will bring the Hopkins engineering students to shadow, rotate through the clinical enterprise that we have. But the mandate that we got from the School of Engineering is that send these students in unpolluted and unrestrained hunt for problems and solutions. Unpolluted means don't tell them what's wrong. Don't say anything. Let them go in passively and let them find the problems. Unrestrained hunt for solutions mean don't tell them how to fix it. Let them be innovators, let them come up with their own solution for the problem. And I will share with you one of our Geratech incubators uh, teams that after shadowing in a bit of 120 um, opportunities, meaning that few times in this clinic, few times in the emergency department, in there, in here, what got their attention was that sleep fragmentation is one of the most frequently observed complaints in the memory clinic. Hopkins is one of the best memory clinics that is led by geriatrics, psychiatry, and neurology.
Absolutely.
And the engineering students, like silent bugs, were sitting in the room, and they noted that every patient that came in was complaining about uh, sleep quality, not sleeping well.
Interesting.
Um, and being engineers, they did not want a pharmaceutical approach. They looked at solutions for that. They found that there are drugs in the market, but that the risk profile that comes with them is high for fall, for confusion, etc. So what they did is they looked for devices, technologies that can support healthy sleep. And what they found is a patent from University of Wisconsin, and which says that science is accumulative. You don't have to come up with something completely new. It's just the way you package it sometimes is what matters. They found this patent from University of Wisconsin. I remember, I think um, that shows that there is a certain sound wavelength.
Mm-hmm.
If the person is in deep sleep, they stay in deep sleep longer. So
Interesting.
what they did is they developed a prototype of a headband
Mm-hmm.
that allows you to figure out if the person is in deep sleep. It's an EEG, an electroencephalogram brain wave reader.
Okay.
Wear it like one of those sports headbands. And that headband is synced with a device that starts to emitting that sound wave. Once the person enters deep sleep, it starts emitting that sound wave. They definitely were one of the most interesting applications among others that I thought simple. I thought interesting. Yes, technologically, it might have been difficult for them to figure out how to do the brain waves reading and then to sync it. But once they got it together, it was very practical. You put it in and you go to sleep. That's all what you need to do. Don't need to do anything more than that. So that was one of the uh, technologies that I think were cool.
I mean, it's kind of like you were mentioning earlier, like it's the little things like opening a jar, like something that can open the jar for you without having to exert yourself. But this is even more important because, again, going back, your number one advice to your 30-year-old self was to get sleep. So
Yeah.
clearly, it just improves quality of life as well significantly when you can get good sleep.
There's a lot of research about sleep, but I don't think there's enough sleep. There's enough, well, there's no enough sleep, but
There's never enough sleep.
enough research about the nature of sleep. Sleep is a very interesting phenomenon that happens, and there is a lot of theories about autophagy and cleaning, your bloodstream from neuro and cytotoxic metabolites when you sleep. So I think sleep fragmentation is a big deal in aging, in physical and cognitive decline.
I had the opportunity to interview Dr. Nisha Chellam over the summer, I think is when it was for this podcast. And it was really interesting. She's a functional medicine doctor. And her number one piece of advice was cut out the caffeine and take naps instead. Because when you are sleepy, your body's telling you something. You're putting band-aids on bullet wounds when you're drinking your fourth cup of coffee at 4 p.m. And she honestly like that, like that really changed my line of thinking as well when it comes to sleep, because like, why is it that a 20-minute nap is that effective? Like, it will wake you up and make you feel that much better than a cup of coffee ever will. I mean, obviously I know why it is, because like your body needs it, but it's just so interesting to like actually like kind of conduct these experiments on your own self and like see how truly they are like impactful and beneficial. But so I guess kind of like to close a loop on this, maybe some of our listeners who are listening at home see problems in their parents or their spouses or loved ones' care or in their own aging journey. Is it possible for people to submit ideas to the Gerotech incubator as well?
Absolutely. So I want to just broaden this, not only from the Geratech is definitely one way, and to tackle the problems and suggest problems, and I would say bring problems, not product ideas, because I mean that's what drives the engineers to get
Mhm.
that suggestion of an area to work in. But the AITC, the Artificial Intelligence and Technology Collaboratory for Aging Research, we have what we call the Key Stakeholders Engagement Core, because designing and developing a technology starts with key stakeholders.
Yeah.
So if you have ideas, please go to the Hopkins AITC and submit the ideas. But also, if you want to help, if you want to be a voice of older adults, if you want to be a voice of caregivers, I would encourage you to contact us to be on our key stakeholders engagement core. You get to say your opinion, to be the person that will think through all those ethical and usability issues of different technologies.
And those stakeholders have been so valuable to us as well, just in our journey of like developing the AI guide, because user experience is the thing that matters the most. If you're developing something and the end user is not going to have any use for it, then what's the point of developing it to begin with? Like, that's why I'm like such a fan of technology for the aging population, but only if it's actually built for the aging population, and you're not just trying to pawn something off of them that worked for like the 30-year-old. Now it's going to just do the same thing for the 80-year-old as well. So yeah, I love that you brought up the stakeholders, because they truly do make the program, like they're like the bow on top of the program that makes it
Yeah,
perfect.
thank you, Ruben.
So, in our conversations in the past, you've um, talked a lot about, just like a sandwich generation caregivers as a whole, and specifically maybe some sandwich generation men. So, a lot of men approach caregiving like a problem to solve, just generally speaking. They want to fix it, they want to optimize it, make it efficient. But, like we're kind of talking about, aging isn't a problem with like a solution. So, how do you counsel male caregivers who are struggling with the fact that they can't fix their parents' decline? Yeah, I guess.
So you need to switch mentalities from fixing to stabilizing, because you really can't control the disease. Some of those diseases come with, you know, uh, traits, phenotypes, progression, trajectories that you cannot control. But you can reduce the chaos. You can
Mhm.
reduce that amount of just uncontrolled, uh, you know, actions there. So I would pick 2 to 3 areas that can fall under your control. And one of them, we said one of the 4 M's, the medications, simplifying medications. There is a whole initiative called deprescribing. You
I love
don't, I, it hurts me when I get an older person in the hospital
it.
and they are on 15, 16 medications.
Oh my goodness.
A fun exercise back in the days to ask our medical students to sit and have a chart of uh, uh, show me how frequently this patient is taking medication, to
Yeah.
realize that they are having to wake up every 30, 45 minutes to take a pill here and there, and just to realize that this is not practical. So
Mm.
I would say that's one of the things that you can control. Talk to your physician about
Yeah.
the prescription. What are the important medications and what can be eliminated? A medicine that is without the reason only carries side effects. So
Mm.
I always teach my medical students be suspicious of medications.
Yeah.
When somebody's admitted to the hospital, look at their blood pressure medications, look at their blood sugar medications, all those medications that we just keep accumulating
Yeah.
from one visit to the next.
That's,
Um,
that's such a good point. Because,
Fal- Go ahead.
sorry, there's this concept, polypharmacy, is that
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
Maybe you could speak on that a little bit too, because I know that, like, when you start prescribing things that are fixing the side effects of another prescription, I feel like
And
that's
there are horror stories. I don't want to scare people, but there are horror stories about one medicine that was started for one reason, and then, uh, a pain medicine or something like that, and then patients started having nausea, and then took another medicine for nausea, and soon enough started having movement disorder, and was diagnosed with something else that they added another medicine, and soon enough they are so debilitated that they end up in assisted living or a nursing home. And after some thoughtful thinking about the medications, you start to eliminate it, and patients start to regain function and able to actually work with you. So
Would you?
medications are not without side effects, and I think we have been always trained to watch for the side effects of medications for a reason. Uh,
Yes,
so
absolutely.
So that's the first thing that I would say. Simplifying medications is going to be something that I would say for that generation
Mm-hmm.
to control. Is you can talk about medications with the primary care physician, and
Yeah.
um, false
Mm.
big deal in older adults.
Making the home more accessible, maybe.
Right, safe,
Yeah,
declutter, and
absolutely.
getting a simple you know assessment of fall risks at home. Uh,
Mhm.
one fun technology that we are seeing, uh, robotics is becoming an interesting you know set of technologies that are coming to the market.
For sure.
So one of the technologies that we were looking at is a dog robot that
Mm.
will be able to bring stuff to the older person, but uh, uh, while not bringing stuff, will go around and declutter the room. So remove obstacles from
That's so
around
cute.
the room. I mean, still, uh, experimental, and whether it would work or not. It's just those kind of ideas is
Yeah.
something I appreciate it.
Can I get one of those dog robots?
I,
That's awesome.
um,
Is that
also,
through the AITC or that's like a
one
different thing?
one of the engineering technologies that we are working with the engineers.
Wow.
So recently, Hopkins, we have had the ribbon cutting ceremony for the new geriatrics engineering center, which is a new center at Hopkins that brings engineers and geriatricians to work together uh, in Bayview campus of Hopkins, and it's a
Mm.
10,000 square foot facility that uh, you know
That's
be
so
focusing on technologies like that.
Oh my gosh, we'll have to come stop by and see it. That sounds really, really awesome and amazing. Um, so, kind of like circling back to family caregivers and some things that they should start thinking about and watching out for. It's kind of like a twofold question. So I guess, folks are seeing their parents kind of slowing down. What are some signs that they should be watching out for as the first part? And also, what's like, what are the conversations that you feel like a lot of people are missing from having just in terms of, getting older?
So back to what we discussed, the four M's of geriatrics, right?
Yep.
Four M's means watch for function
Mhm.
or diagnoses. So
Mm.
look for troubles in getting up and down from stairs, trouble from standing from a chair, walking speed,
Mm.
falls or near falls. Those are warning signs that we should be looking. But all of those will fall into that functions. So
Mhm.
watch for their daily functions.
Yeah.
With aging diagnosis, you accumulate diagnoses from high blood pressure to diabetes to
Yeah.
heart failure, etc.
Mm.
More importantly, shift your attention to how they are doing on a daily basis.
I see.
Medication mix-up
Mm.
is a really big deal in older adults. Did you take your medications and finding that they mixed this with that medicine or took somebody else's medicine?
I didn't even think about that.
Weight loss,
Mm.
signs of isolation, mood change,
Mm.
uh, all of those are, you know,
Yeah.
uh,
Things
or
that we should be
signs,
watching out for.
warning signs that you should be looking at. Uh,
100%.
so if you notice something like that, it's definitely worth a proactive discussion with your primary care physician.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait until you go to the emergency department with a full-blown fall to say something about
Yes.
it, or to attribute it to just
Mhm.
normal aging.
Mhm. I feel like all of this is like a lot of it is just trying to avoid the crisis before it happens. Prevention, prevention, prevention. At the end of the day, is and sometimes it can. Um, I can definitely be someone like this where I'm like, oh, like if I don't know that the problem is there, like if it hasn't been identified as a problem, then it's not a problem. Again, I don't need to
Yeah.
think about it. But that problem is still there, and it's only getting worse. And the sooner that it's addressed, the more
And,
peace and calm can come.
and Nirvana, you asked a very important question. What conversations that
Mhm.
uh,
Yes.
they are not having,
Right.
right? And I do think that this is an
Mhm.
important uh, question because a lot of people are not asking who decides and
Mhm.
what matters most. We see that frequently at the end of life when there are multiple people making decisions, and in some families, it is a shared decision. All members will make decision, but honestly, it makes a lot of sense to decide on a person that is going to make the decision for me for that
Mhm.
loved one, and to have that conversation on what matters most. So talking about durable power of attorney, realistic expectations. What would you want us to do? That
Mhm.
relieves a lot of guilt. One of the major issues that we see at the end of life for the caregivers is that feeling of guilt. So it really helps to have that conversation, to have the conversation on who's going to decide
Absolutely.
and what matters most to that loved one.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's so, oh my goodness. Yeah, absolutely. Goals of care
yeah,
are important. And these conversations need to be had before it's too late or before and I've seen it myself. Like things like this, if not dealt with in like a, timely manner, can break families apart. Siblings, like children and their like parents. It's definitely something that is not talked about nearly enough and something that is it's such an avoidable uh, problem if it was just a little less taboo or felt a little less. I don't know what word I'm looking for, but yeah, agree with every single thing that you said. That's so important. So yeah, I guess maybe just going back a little bit to the also, I just want everybody to know that I'm not even halfway through the questions that I have for Dr. Abadir, and we are basically at time for this podcast. So I will obviously not hold you for a long time over, but I think we should definitely take into consideration recording a follow-up episode in the new year if you have the time, because I
I
feel
would love that, Nirvana. Maybe in the new Geriatrics Engineering Center, we'll invite you and we have a live
I'll drive
conversation
up there and we can.
from there.
I love that. An in-person podcast recording is my dream because I feel like that's really really awesome. Yes, I will be emailing you immediately about that, and we can definitely sort something out. But I'm gonna pick and choose a couple more here so that we can sort of wrap up what we're talking on and we can dive into other topics later. Um, but going back to that male versus female sandwich generation thing, caregiving kind of requires skills that are traditionally coded as feminine, and emotional labor, nurturing, patience with that decline. So how do you help male caregivers see that strength isn't just portrayed through like strength, it's portrayed in different ways, and guide them through what may be seen as sort of like a role reversal if that's something that you faced in the past?
I think I think one of the problems with caregiving for males is that steadiness, right? So strength is not when it comes to caregiving and supporting. It's not about control. It's about being steady and about being, having the ability to be present, patient, uh, consistent in your approach. Those are extremely important skill sets that you will need to develop as a caregiver. And it's not about being a male or female. It's about being steady, consistent
Yeah.
um, um, in providing that support. And,
Mm.
and it's okay to acknowledge that nobody is born with those skill sets. That it's okay. You have a permission to learn. You have a permission to ask for guidance. You have a permission to understand the practicalities of caregiving. There is a beautiful book that is written uh, about caregiving for patients with dementia, the 36-hour
Wow.
day, which is written by Professor at Hopkins, Peter Ravens, that has practical tips. And that's, again, another way of rethinking about those skill sets that you need to
Right.
provide persistent, consistent care.
Absolutely. Huh. That's so interesting. You'll have to you'll if send me the name of the author and things like that as well, and I'll be sure to add that to the description too, because this is all great nuggets of knowledge that I think we all can do, and also potentially maybe another great gift for someone's stocking for this holiday season. So, okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn a little bit to our comments from the audience and see if we haven't addressed anything yet. And then I'll ask you one last question, and then we'll wrap up for the night. And then, like I said, I promise we'll be back again for a second episode. So I know that Jake earlier was asking about his grandparents and, fishing and things like that. Is there, and I know we talked about how that's like a huge problem, but do you have any practical tips or advice that he or other people could impart on their grandparents to help them avoid tech-based scams in the future?
So unfortunately, Jake, there is nothing like that out there, and uh, scammers are becoming more and more professional and effective on preying on the vulnerable older adults. I think it is on all of us to make sure that we're keeping, uh, we're keeping eyes on that, and just following closely with your loved ones. So there's nothing other than just the being diligent, being watchful.
Yeah. And always thinking twice, right? Like just tell them, don't believe anything. It's better to be over careful and not careful enough. With Carrie, for example, we have our students to make sure that they're good to be caregivers, but also we background check the families as well to make sure that their students are going into safe environments. Of course, that's all done with at no cost to the families, but the background check does require a social security number, and I always love it when someone reaches out to us to double check to make sure that this is a real thing, that they need to actually submit their social security number, because I'm like, yes, you should double think about that, because it's not like a normal question that you get asked on a day-to-day basis, like, hey, what's your social security number? So it's better to always ask and be more careful, because it's not like that thing will still be there if you take 5-10 minutes to think about it before kind of committing to something that could cause irreversible damage. I mean, I think the numbers I've read of how many, like, thousands if not millions of dollars have been lost to these scammers is just like breaks my heart. I like this one actually. So for innovators who are looking to apply to the AITC program, what advice would you share when you look at these applications? What makes a project sort of stand out to you? It seems like Dr. Abadir is looking for applications to help with scam prevention. If I'm not,
That would be very interesting project.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do think that for innovators that want to apply,
Mhm.
and innovators can come from the clinical clinician science caregiver side or from the engineering side. I
Mhm.
think one advice that I would like to share is just make sure that you talk with us before you submit the application. The application has to be fluent both in the clinical world
Mhm.
and engineering world. So it
Mm,
has to be reliable technology, validated, that
mhm.
is feasible to be developed.
Right.
And also, it has to address all the clinical questions. Is this an important area? Is this something that will change the field? Is it
Mhm.
innovative? Is it uh, ethically thought through? How about um, HIPAA? How about privacy? All of those elements. So um, we
Thoughtfulness.
definitely are definitely wanting to get applications, and we want to help filter the applications by providing support early on, so that the people that the folks that will apply will put their best possible application out there.
Yeah, there you go. I love it. And, I think that at the end of the day, we all have a common goal in mind, at least for the folks that will be applying. So it's just a matter of, making sure that the things that are really, really important that can be looked over, I guess, like you were mentioning the guardrails and making sure that things are being developed in like a safe manner, are truly in place. We have another person that just made a comment saying lots to think about. I was at a conference recently and someone reminded us how effective using a short phrase or password only known by the caregiver and the aging individual can be. That's definitely an interesting point. Yeah.
100%.
Oh, and then we have Dr. Phillips back again. Measuring and augmenting pre-cortical wavelengths to enhance sleep quality. As a geriatrician, it is my opinion providers are not well educated in the field of sleep medicine or the presence of sleep apnea. Oh my gosh, sleep apnea is another really big one because the lack of oxygen to your brain can really cause damage, right?
True.
Yeah.
True. And Dr. Phillips, I didn't realize that you're a geriatrician, but one just fun fact: there is one geriatrician for every 10,000 older adults in the U.S. We need more geriatrician. We need more physicians that are trained to take care of older adults.
And we really need to motivate our current pre-med students to pursue careers in geriatrics and
Yes.
palliative and
Amen.
hospice. These are such important fields. Like these are just, I as a former pre-med student myself, it wasn't even something that I thought about. It was all like the flashy stuff of like, oh, dermatology, oh, pediatrics, oh, like this, that, and the next. Because let's be
There's a place for everything, but geriatrics definitely.
absolutely, and then I feel like all those are very, very important, but it's just like the media I feel like that we consume doesn't really highlight these things as much. And the statistic, I think there's, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 geriatricians in the entire United States, right?
I think they are less than that, but less than 7,000,
Wow.
if I remember the numbers correctly. I'm not 100% sure, but I think you're right, and I think Nirvana, we should have another, and maybe invite Dr. Phillips to join us. Talk
Yes,
about
absolutely.
that ageism
Yeah.
and the role of media in promoting that. So the words like anti-aging cream, that
Mm,
in itself, convey the message that aging is the bad thing. You
yeah.
don't want aging. Portraying older adults in movies as looking ugly or looking or hard of hearing or confused. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh my gosh, I had never even thought about that. The anti-aging thing. Wow, there's so many better ways that we could phrase that. And, in this like
true.
I feel like, we're moving towards like a more like politically correct world in general where we're like careful with how we phrase things and like try but that those advancements haven't been made in the aging field. And you're so right about that. Yes, our next podcast is literally going to be ageism in all caps. Dr. Phillips also suggests that Cariaya posts the 4Ms worksheet developed by the age-friendly health system, as it's a great tool for caregivers when visiting providers with their loved ones. And I will absolutely take that consideration and make it happen as soon as humanly possible. That's really, really helpful, actually. And he also mentioned that he finished his 2-year fellowship in 1988, and he's a professor at UNR School of Medicine. So that's really, really great. Dr. Phillips, would love to have you on an episode as well. I just, it's my passion to, if I could interview every single one of those 7,000 something geriatricians, that I would spend the rest of my life doing that. But for now, I'm going to just sort of wrap up this episode with one last question for you, Dr. Abadir. And I just, again, want to thank you for your time and for staying until this hour. But if you could wave a magic wand and solve one problem in aging and elder care right this second, what would it be?
This will sound not politically correct.
It's fine.
All, but I would love to find a way to put nursing homes all out of business by providing tools and technologies to keep older adults at home.
Oh,
And I know that may sound like preying on the desire of people to stay home longer, but in reality, I would love for us to find ways to support that, wave that magic wand, and find ways to support that that dream.
yeah. Support our older adults in a completely different way. That's not. Oh, I'm not even going to say anything either, because I'm going to be even less politically correct than you were. But that is a beautiful magic wand answer, and that's going to go in my books as one of the best magic wand answers I've ever gotten, because wow, I could not agree with you more. And earlier today, I was actually onboarding a patient that's going to start booking care with Cariaya in the new year. She's moving her mom out of a nursing home because she's had, wait for it, 4 eyes in the span of 5 or 6 weeks. And I don't have to tell you this, but for our audience at home, UTIs are extremely detrimental for our older adult population. Can present in symptoms that are like cognitive symptoms, right? And it can make them, it's something that is really easily avoidable. It's something that should not be happening. But that's just one of and that's literally just from today of the.
And Nirvana, I want to just follow up with just the statement that I have tons of respect for all the work that's done in nursing homes by all the colleagues that work in nursing homes.
1,000%.
It's just my dream is that we reach that level of development of technology that people won't need to leave their homes and stay at home.
There you go.
Healthier, and close that gap between lifespan and health span. People staying healthier at home.
Absolutely. And I want to say I also have so much respect for all of our care workers as well. It's just heartbreaking because it's not the fault of the caregivers that are at the facilities. It's because there's not enough staffing. There's just not nearly enough humans for how fast our population is getting older. And again, so much respect to anyone who has ever been, is ever going to be, and was a caregiver, because being a caregiver is one of the most honorable jobs in this world, I would say. And sometimes you choose to be a caregiver and sometimes you have to be, but care touches us in one aspect or another, no matter what. You're either going to be cared for at some point in your life, or you're going to take care of someone at some point in your life. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. And it's not something that we should put behind closed doors and hide, because it's impacting 1 in 5 Americans right now. And that's a really, really significant number. But Dr. Abadir, I could not say this enough. I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation with you so much. And I know that our audience is just really thrilled right now as well. We'll be in touch about recording a new episode soon. And thank you again for being here with me today.
Thank you, Nirvana, for having me.
Happy holidays, everybody. And I hope you have a great, new year. And, thanks for being here with us as always. Bye, everyone.